Hey, it's Coach Rob. Hopefully you've watched some of the other videos like how to correctly take your stance, how to throw your jab. We're going to today work on how to throw your cross. All right? The cross is punch number 2, so you got to know how to do it. It's the second most popular punch, I would say, after your jab. So your jab and your cross help you to find your range on the outside, and the goal is to use that jab to set up the cross. Now once you've gotten good with your jab and you're in range to throw that cross, we got to know how to throw it the right way. Keep in mind that I'm going to show you the very technical way to throw it, so we're going to really break it down in detail. You may not always throw it this full if you're putting it together into a different combination, but if you're going to try to just land across a 1-2, then this is the way you're probably going to want to do it. All right, so we've used our jab to establish our distance. Our hands are up, we're in our good stance, and we're moving in behind that jab. Now once I can touch them with the jab, I can have a better chance of hitting with the cross. If I'm out here with my jab, then my cross is going to be too short. I'm going to have to lean in to try to throw it. Anytime you lean in on a punch, it's easier for your partner, your opponent, to counter punch you. So here's the technique when you throw the cross. It's not a leaning forward kind of a motion. It's a rotational motion. So from here, I'm rotating into my cross. Now my left hand should be at my cheek. Doesn't really move too much. It just pulls into my face as I fire this right hand out. My chin stays down. My shoulder's automatically protecting my face. My back foot has turned and my heel has rotated up, and my back hip fires forward like you're kind of slamming a door shut. So my left hip is the hinge, my right hip is the door, and I'm firing those hips into my cross to make it stronger. My cross is coming behind that motion, so like my hips are already turning and driving and rotating as my punch then extends out. It doesn't go out and then I turn my hips. Everything kind of starts together, but you think about turning the hips first, which will move your elbow forward, and now your cross will shoot out there. Now you're not going to telegraph it, because if I'm in here and I throw this punch out here, you're going to see this coming and I'm taking a longer path to the target. So what you want is when that hip turns, you're already here, and then now that punch fires out straight. So you don't get a chance to see it. It just is firing out. And your punch will be nice and strong because you're getting your hips turned into it. Here's the wrong way to do it, is by leaning in and trying to throw it this way, trying to force the distance. The right way to throw it is just to turn and rotate into your cross, using your core and your legs to generate some of that force. The other thing that you're doing is, as your punch is coming out about halfway, is tightening your hand. And that's going to help to get some of that smack at the end of the punch, but it's going to make sure your wrist is tight and straight, and make sure your hand is nice and tight when it hits your target. Because if you hit with your hand loose, you're going to hurt your hand, break your wrist, who knows. So, and it's going to feel a lot harder when it hits solid, right? But if I'm all tense here, it's going to be slow when I throw it. I'm going to have to force that punch out there. I want to be loose, and then when I throw it, I just rotate the shoulders into the shot. So the elbow stays in, I rotate the shoulders, the elbow is kind of connected to my hip. Nice and fast, right? I'm not showing that it's coming, I'm just firing it forward. It's going to take some time. You have to teach your muscles how to do this. You're going to want to reach back at first. You're going to want to feel like that's giving you more power. You're going to want to put your power hand in the front because it feels better. But what I'm telling you to do is to keep it in the back so you have your power there, and work on developing your weaker side into a fast jab. Now you'll have your power behind you when you need it, even though it's not going to seem like what you want to do when you first start training. You can always switch and fight out of the other stance once you get this side down. That's okay too. But I think you should spend the majority of your time fighting in one good solid stance. If you were going to throw a baseball and you would throw it with your right hand, then you should have that right hand in the back. You wouldn't put your right hand in the front and try to throw a baseball, right? So that's the idea with boxing too. Have that power where you need it, which is behind you. The jab is the speed, the timing, the distance control, and then your cross will follow behind it once you've established your distance and you've established an opening or set up that cross with good timing on the jab. All right, so with that being said, when I start throwing it behind the jab, it'll look like this. The jab comes in, I set it up with the jab, and then I fire the cross behind it. There's a lot of ways I can do it, but if I throw a typical 1-2, when you're first practicing, just work on throw the cross and bring it back to your face. Throw the cross and bring it back to your face. Turn and rotate the hips, turn the shoulder, tighten the hand on the way out, get it all back. Then when you start doing it with the 1-2, you can start out slow, jab, cross, and then get it to where it's going 1-2. Like a nice, good, quick 1-2. All right? That's really what your goal is on that 1-2. You can change up rhythms, but that's really a good, fast rhythm for throwing the 1-2. There's advanced ways to do it. I can step out when I throw the jab to give me more room to throw the cross, so I can pivot that hip really good and throw it right up the center. We'll get into more of that stuff in other videos. So that's your cross. You got to work on it. Set it up with the jab, but don't be afraid to isolate and just work on the cross. And work on it for a while. Don't do like 3 crosses and then be like, all right, I got it. And then you think you can go in a ring and win a boxing match. It's not gonna happen like that. You get to practice, practice, and practice some more. And then you're gonna find when you first start sparring that it's a lot harder to hit somebody than you think it is. That heavy bag can give us a false sense of security because it's not moving. Take that cross, work with partners, work on the double end bag. If you don't know what that is, we'll do other videos on the double end bag, but it's a moving target. And then when you start sparring, you got to learn your distance. And that is the hard part. That's where the game really gets fun. All right, so number 2, your second punch, the cross. Make sure you throw it by rotating and get everything back to your stance. All right, I'm Coach Rob. It's been fun. I look forward to the next video. Go back and watch some of the other videos if you've missed them. And if you're at like one of the basic tiers on our page here, try out one of the more advanced tiers for even more advanced videos. Take care. See you in class or see you on our page.